Oh, hey, didn't see you there.
Hey.
We're Fitness League 5. And today, we're going to talk about hypertrophy. Yeah! Ah! Hey guys, welcome back. Fitness League 5 here. CrossFit Union Square. I'm Andre Cruz, Cruise Control.
I'm the big white Kahuna, Mike Dewar from J2 Fit.
And I'm the one and only Mike Breezy.
There's only one of you?
There's only one of me, the one and only.
Mike's a very common name.
He's easy, breezy, beautiful,
Cover boy.
cover girl.
Girl
Hey,
boy.
hey.
As you saw from our intro, today we're talking about hypertrophy.
Gains.
What does that mean? What does it
I
mean?
don't know, actually.
What does it mean?
Well, yeah, but we'll first want to start out and thank our sponsors.
Ah, yes. CrossFit Union Square,
Yeah.
In the Flesh, Rhino Co Fitness, Fireline Strong.
You gotta mention Reebok 1 and Reebok.
J2 Fit and the Barbell CEO. Yeah, and once again, we are taking applications for caffeine sponsorships.
Yes.
So if you want to fuel our performance and our podcast, let us know at thefitnessleague5@gmail.com.
No cocaine.
Yeah. It's a hell of a drill.
Liquid cocaine.
Yes.
I think that's actually a brand name.
Is it?
Maybe.
If they want to sponsor, hey, you guys want to sponsor? Liquid cocaine? I don't care.
Yeah, so as you saw in our intro here, we're going to do hypertrophy. We're going to go over what is it, why to do it, and kind of how you can employ it as a CrossFitter, as an Olympic weightlifter.
And just as a bro who wants to get jacked and look good for the summer.
Yeah. Or to recover from an injury.
Sure.
Or to prevent injuries. So, without further ado, hypertrophy training. We typically think it's like bodybuilding training. So, can somebody dive into what it actually means to do some hypertrophic work for your muscles?
It means to lift so hard and so heavy for so long that you start off looking like this guy and you end up looking like this guy.
Oh wait, I caught that.
Womp womp.
Actually, people think bodybuilding, we think of reps of 8 to 12. We think of high volume sets. We think of bicep curls, bench press, overhead pressing, lat pull downs.
Bench press.
Yeah, all that
Squats.
great stuff. 316. But realistically, the hypertrophy, all it happens is you're creating an environment within the muscle that you force adaptation and you actually increase the muscle size. Think of like a tree stump. Right? Over time, you just slap on more rings and you create the muscle diameter to get bigger. With the idea then that you can put more of those muscle fibers into alignment to train for strength, for power, or even muscle endurance after you transition that, like we talked about in session 2, or episode 2 about training goals and how you can use your phases.
How would you say that you need to do some hypertrophy work to get to different stages? Let's say strength phase, power phase, right?
Heck yeah, yeah. So like in our, we talked yesterday, talked yesterday in the goal set.
Fuck
in our episode 2, we talked about goal setting. We talked about how to do it from coming back from injury, how to do it from coming back from competition, and then where do you kind of begin again? Well, this hypertrophic range is typically what you see in most fitness plans, which is sets of 8 to 10 reps, 3 sets of 10 or 4 sets of 10. Well, to become a little more advanced, what you want to try to do is you want to use a moderate weight most of the time that you can start to just deliver that lactic just build up in the muscle, so that way you can start to create metabolic disturbances.
For those who don't know, it's that burning feel.
Yeah, yeah. When you feel the burn, right? You can think all that. And what
Not when
that's
you
going
have sex
to do?
with a dirty woman.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Yes.
So
That's
you can really start to use it as your first kind of fundamental foundational layer upon building strength and kind of transitioning into more one-sided programming, whether it's weightlifting or prepare for the open, all that great stuff. So
Cool.
We're all going to we all have different backgrounds of sport now. However, most of us and a lot of your viewers, you guys usually around our same age, maybe even older, maybe even younger, and bodybuilding, that sensation of doing the bicep curls, looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger, reading the muscle magazines. That's kind of how we all started.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe let's go back and kind of bring people back to your childhood and then where
Want
you're
to talk
at now.
about the genesis of why you got into lifting in the first place?
Oh yeah.
Why not? Why? Like, I think we all have
You might have
aspirations.
some tear jerkers, bro.
Yeah.
I don't want to go there yet. I'll let you go.
I'm gonna go into my sport because I love baseball, and besides being a pitcher, my goal is I wanted to be able to hit home runs all the time. So I used to watch guys like Barry Bonds and stuff like that, and I don't care about the whole steroid thing. Steroids help, but that guy
he did
was
head presses,
stronger.
right? That's why his head got big.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the
Doing
things,
this
like, let's say for myself, to be stronger, I needed to have bigger legs. And the only way to do that is to go into a hypertrophy stage first to really grow out these quads. So I can actually gain some more strength when I'm actually looking to get some power through my back to hit these actual home runs.
So yeah, so what did you? So because now people think, okay, get bigger legs, I'm a squat. Are all squats created equal?
No,
Even just
not.
thinking about the back squat, how you
Absolutely
do a
not.
squat, is it created equal?
No, because you can separate a back squat from a front squat in terms of the emphasis on the quad. Where in your quads do you feel it? How much of your glutes are actually working in that process? Because I can blow my being glutes out doing squats.
Whoa!
And most people think to work your glutes, you got to do deadlifting all day, but I'm actually working my glutes a lot more than you think. You know, and I can even go a single leg on my squats and go lunges and go split stance, and I destroy my quads and actually make my joints stronger and actually help my other lifts and help myself in action when I'm trying to, like, let's say, sprint down the line, you know?
Yeah. So quick 2 exercises that he just layered in there for strengthening your legs and your squat. Split squats. You want to demonstrate one really quick in front of the camera?
Don't screw it up, man.
So for those of you that are listening on
Don't
the podcast,
screw it up, you're too close.
why don't you show
You're
the
too
other way?
close.
Show
You
the
gotta
other way.
back up.
Show the other way.
You gotta be pretty much in Andre's lap.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not getting that close.
So, for those of you that are listening at home, Mike has pretty much split his stance. One leg is in front, one leg is behind, and he is dropping his weight right down the center of his body, maintaining weight in his front heel. Standing up tall, squeezing his glutes at the top. What muscles are working right now, Michael?
I'm going to go ahead and say my quads are working right
Quadriceps.
now. As I get back to the top, that glutes actually squeezing
Glutes.
through to make sure I finish
That's the
all
booty.
way up. Core is working at all times, especially when you add on weight.
Core's always working.
Core is always working. But I'm actually working my calf too. In that front leg,
Calf,
my calf is constantly
gastrocnemius.
working, especially in the back leg. I'm working on extending through.
Yeah. So essentially, what Mike's doing here is he's using a very common, what you see in a leg day bodybuilding program, such as a split squat or a lunge, or even like a front squat, which is a lot of CrossFitters kind of know that by now because we know now you need to use that for your quad development. But he's starting to almost isolate certain muscles that need to start getting turned on or develop better.
Exactly.
Right. So say you're coming back from a knee injury, right? You better have strong ass quads and really strong hamstrings to be able to anchor that kneecap and anchor that hip when you go down.
Yeah,
Right.
and working on the actual single leg side now, I'm actually working the calf muscles that might have been causing that pain. Like, if my knee is not strong enough, it doesn't always have to be because the quads are not strong enough or the hamstring. It could actually work on the opposite side too, getting into those calves and even the tips in front for, you know, that side on the shin. And most people forget about it and they think that just squatting is going to help that. When you isolate and you split those legs out, you actually get more of the emphasis on those muscles that haven't been really worked.
Yeah.
What are a couple of other exercises? So you said the split squat, you said lunges.
To help your leg
Lunges,
strength.
definitely.
Yeah, leg strength. Yeah, well, since we're talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I go with the pistol squat.
Pistol squat.
Yeah, it's a
if
little
you
bit
can.
more advanced, but you can always have help, you know, in terms of bands and the TRX, something to actually hold on to. You have bars too. But yeah, I like to work single leg there too, just to work on actually driving through the ground too.
A very good exercise is a rolling pistol squat. So if you don't have the strength to do it, you can literally, I'll see if I can do this on camera without,
You might have to move the box back.
whatever.
But you lay on your back. Yeah, you lay here.
So, yeah, I'll move this way.
Wave your camera. So if you're listening at home, what he's really doing is he's gonna.
Well, what I want to do, I like to do mine from the top down.
Oh,
So
nice.
it actually works the eccentric portion of the workout. So
Explain that real quick.
eccentric, so anytime that you are working with the weight, going in the same direction that the weight is going.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? With
Pretty
gravity.
much with gravity.
With gravity, essentially. So on the way down, I'm going to go slow on the way down. So I've got my one leg up. I'm going to control myself on the way down. I'm going to roll back. and explode on the way up. So I got a little
pressure was on, man.
Thank you. So I'm working the eccentric going very slow on the way down, maybe a 3 to 5 second count, and then I use momentum from hitting the ground and roll myself forward, essentially doing a very explosive sit-up and then driving through my heel and standing up on one leg.
I agree on that. Working on the eccentric side is great for building up strength, especially for someone starting out. Like, let's say you're trying to do a push-up, right? You're trying to do a push-up, but you're not strong enough yet. One thing you can definitely do is start from a plank and work on slowly falling down towards the ground, building up the tricep strength, building up the chest to get used to that tension. And you also build up your core too, which is a big part. But at the same time, you're not actually pushing up, but you're gaining strength in that actual movements.
Yeah, I mean, so, and the science is right. Eccentric, you have the two phases, right? So we'll break down the squats as we're talking about it. On the way up from the bottom of the squat, you're working against gravity, you're having to overcome acceleration. So you're having to work the concentric or the positive aspect of that lift. The down phase, your muscles are still active, they're just lengthening under load and you're getting the assistance from gravity. You're actually like 110 to 120% stronger. And those are called negative. So when you think about people that, you know, they have somebody counting them down on a 5-10 second negative, they're brutal, but actually that's where you can start to develop that muscle tear and then actually come back stronger. And that's just another advanced technique that bodybuilders have done for a while. And now you're starting to see it in most CrossFit gyms, you're seeing it with weightlifters, they've been doing it too. But it's just another way to create muscle stimulus and growth.
Word of caution. When doing slow eccentric movements, you are much more likely to develop what's called DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. Those slow eccentric contractions will make you sore. Like, so, you know, if you work out, let's say you haven't worked out in a while and you hit the gym like January 2nd, you're like, I got my New Year's resolution, I'm gonna work out, and then 2 days later, your body is wrecked. It's like, oh my God, what is happening? That is DOMS. It can happen anywhere from 24 to 72 hours after you have worked out. You're more likely to encounter that when you do slow eccentric movements, so just keep that in mind when you're adding these kind of eccentric workouts into your regimen. You will be sore. So it just makes you feel better.
I don't think it goes extremely to the extent that if you don't use it, you lose it. But at the same time, if you have a goal in mind, you want to get more fit, you want to get stronger, you have to be able to stay consistent. Maybe not beat yourself up every day, but maybe that movement pattern. Let's say squatting, you get into maybe less weight, maybe a different rep scheme, maybe just working body weight, but keeping that patterning going so you teach your body how to do it, so you connect the mind with the actual muscles too.
Maybe you're doing heavy back squats on Monday and then just air squats the next day.
Yeah. And I mean, I like where Mike is going with this, where you guys were really giving each other like different variations on a squat movement. And I think the biggest takeaway from that is, and we talked about it yesterday, I'm going to use the term again, is like diversifying your fitness. So you can't just think that if you squat every single day that you're going to have well-developed the three-headed monster. The quads are not going to be fully equal. The hamstring balance might be disproportionate.
This guy's got some good.
So what you have to do is you have to make sure that you're picking some selective exercises that might isolate, you know, a certain aspect of that leg, the quad, right? So for instance, the front squat does a pretty damn good job of hitting the vastus right down the center. Say some people have a lot of collapse in the pelvis when they do squats. Maybe they need to work some more sumo style to start getting the glutes to start firing, right? Or maybe it's a matter of doing more lunges so they can start to have better hip and knee tracking, right? And we see that a lot with squats, is that pelvis, especially in women, just by their hips. So it's using that bodybuilding kind of mentality of I'm gonna, you know, isolate, because you can kind of do some isolation training, and then you know, really just attack the muscle and just make it grow, which goes into your started fitness.
Yeah. So let's wind the clock back many years. So you started playing baseball when you were a boy.
Yes.
Right.
Young boy.
A young boy. How old?
I was about 6.
About 6. So you were 6 and you're like, I want to be like Ken Griffey Jr.
Dude, I was playing T-ball and hitting bombs.
Boom. Right. So I was getting
20 feet.
I think about this a lot. I don't know when the light bulb went off, but I think I just watched a lot of superheroes. So I watched the X-Men. That was my shit. Wolverine. Just like cut people up. And all those guys just had
Red
like
flag.
I don't want to kill anyone, but
Just bad guys.
Yeah, just bad guys. But all those guys, their bodies are ridiculous. It's what a lot of people, I think, aspire to have. It's, you know, the big shoulder boulders, you've got the lats puffed out, and then it tapers down to this tight waist with like the 8-pack that's just
I mean, have you seen Hugh Jackman?
12-pack.
He's pretty jacked.
I'm stronger than he is.
Yeah, but yeah.
Dude, he lifts though. He lifts. I'll give him that. Anyway, who else? Hey, you. If you want to come on our
Sorry,
show, we can have a lift.
He said it.
We can have a lift off. But anyway, so I think that's where my infatuation with that became. I was like, oh man, those guys have like abs, even though they weren't real human beings. I was like, all right, cool, this is what I want. So from the time I was little, I was always obsessed with having, I think that like shape, having that six pack. And then as I got older, I started, working out. When I was in like high school, I started doing a lot of push-ups. I started doing bench press, bicep curls, things to attack that area, doing 1,000,000 sit-ups.
Best exercise.
Yes, curls for the girls. And then when I got
to
to
guys,
exactly
you want.
when I got to college, so I think this was my junior
It's when you
year.
start to experiment
Yes,
with triceps.
with triceps. It's like I got to build it back. No, the movie 300 came out, and that was the first time that I actually saw like a large mass of like several guys who were all jacked, and that was sort of, I don't know, that was inspiring to me. So I think there have always been action stars, like there's always been an Arnold. There have been guys that are like the guy in the movie who are just like, big and jacked. But this was the first time I saw a collective group of dudes
Just like extras
who
that
were
were just jacked.
just like a bunch of jacked dudes, and I was like, wow, this is actually something that might be attainable to have in real life. So from that, I was like, all right, well,
Thank you, Arnold.
I want to do, yeah, he set the game for everyone. I was like, I want to do whatever these guys do. So I started to do some research, reading things like Men's Health, and just started reading their regimen and the kind of fitness that they do. And that's what really got me into circuit training. So I know they did a lot of pull-ups, they did a lot of front squats, they did essentially CrossFit style exercises before CrossFit was really popular or really a thing. And that's what really got me into that form of fitness.
So how does training for hypertrophy or wanting to look like those superheroes back then translate to now to what you do in your CrossFit world, in your competitions? And how did that help?
Like in your training cycles, because a lot of people see your end result, they don't see the hypertrophy progress you went through last summer with us.
Yeah.
How do you break it down for an athlete that comes in?
Right. So last year after the Open, and I actually did this 2 years ago as well, right around in the summertime, so around May-ish, did a 12-week cycle where we just lifted very, very, very heavy things. So heavy squatting, heavy deadlift intervals with rowing, weighted pull-ups, weighted dips, weighted muscle-ups, strict pressing, strict handstand push-ups, but things where, like Mike was talking about, where you're just putting time under tension, putting your body under load for a period of time, forcing that blood flow into your muscles so that you get stronger, you get bigger, you lose a little bit of your conditioning, but you can do things like intervals to maintain that. But there just has to be a time where you sacrifice a little bit of your conditioning and just focus on getting stupid strong. I literally named my program Andre's Get Stupid Strong program, because you just have to get stupid strong if you want to compete at a certain level.
Literally that he laid out his program, just what he said, and it was heavy weight. It wasn't hitting like singles and doubles and triples. It was, I think we worked out most of the time was like work up within like 5 to 10 reps for big movements like your dips and your chin-ups. And we just did a bunch of volume, meaning a bunch of sets, a bunch of reps. When we couldn't do any more, we did more. We took weight off and did all kinds of your drop sets and tempos that bodybuilders have done for years.
Yes, I love that you said tempos, because one thing that people forget about is it takes timing to really make this work. But some people get in the gym and yes, they do lift weight, but at the same time is they're by themselves maybe and they lift and they go take a break, or they sit down and start texting. You forget that. You gotta stay on the clock, because that's how your body's gonna actually make changes and actually want to grow. If it just gets the same stimulus that it always gets, it doesn't really do much. Yeah, you're strong-ish for what you had, but you're never gonna get better.
So, and like the tempo really is talking about like rest periods, monitoring those rests. The whole idea is you want to make sure you're obviously giving yourself enough, in a hypertrophy-based program, giving yourself enough rest period where you can still recover 90%, right, from the first set to the second set. Still be able to go hard with some moderately heavy or heavy weight, right? So maybe that's like your 75 to 80% rep max. If you rest too long, you don't have that accumulative buildup across 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sets of all the the byproducts of lactic acid in there, which that really drives the protein synthesis, which drives your hypertrophy. So
So when your coach or trainer tells you to get off your ass and move to the next set, you should start moving.
And usually when you train with your training partners, it's great because like if he busts out a set, you bust out a set, I bust out a set. By the time it's his time again, it's been typically 45 to 90 seconds. Which, if you look in your textbook, that's typically what you want to be hitting.
Boom.
Yeah. So pretty much to recap yours, I mean, his was diversify your training and kind of mix in different exercises to strike symmetry and balance.
Yeah. And so to talk about how these things carry over into CrossFit a little bit. So I specifically picked that one because I knew that I needed to compete in CrossFit. You need to be able to lift heavy, but you also need to be able to, at the drop of a hat, go over and do something that is cardiovascular. So heavy deadlifts right into a cardiovascular piece with the rowing. So training your body, training your system, but it's relatively heavy once again, so I'm getting that hypertrophic effect. Let's talk about an exercise like muscle ups. So you see the guys on TV, they can bang through them pretty quickly. I'm pretty good at them myself. But one way that you can train your body to get good at that movement is not just by doing muscle ups. Do weighted pull-ups, do weighted dips, repping it out anywhere from 5 to 10 reps at a load that you can handle. If you're not super good at pull-ups, just start with regular pull-ups. If you are relatively good at them, strap a kettlebell around your waist and start pulling. Same thing with the dips, but just working that blood flow so that when you actually go up onto the rings and you're trying to string together muscle ups with just your body weight, you're going to feel light as a feather.
Yeah,
because you're used to having 45 pounds attached to
hypertrophy
you.
phase where, you know what, maybe you don't have that skill set yet, but maybe it's because you don't have the actual muscle mass to really get that done. Some people just haven't developed those biceps, those lats, even the triceps. Maybe you need it all to get all of those.
Here's that, and I think that's a great way you put having the muscle development, right? So say you have somebody who they're fixed, and since you're the CrossFit coach, you can kind of tell them that maybe this is the best. Say they can do 5 strict pull-ups, and they want to start doing more muscle ups. So instead of adding more weight and doing heavier weighted strict pull-ups, they just opt to say, well, I can do 5 strict pull-ups, but I can do 15 kipping pull-ups. Is that going to be the same effect if you just do more kipping pull-ups? Or if you just said, you know what, I'm going to kind of take more like a bodybuilding approach to this movement and just start hammering away heavy volume pull-ups in terms of how the muscle will respond?
I think it would be better, like if you're just trying to get strong, I would stick to like strict pull-ups. Absolutely. Either strict pull-ups or weighted pull-ups if you don't, if you have the ability to do so. Kipping pull-ups are great, but that's more of a full body mechanics exercise versus just building here, which is really what you're going to need.
Yeah, I would say in the sport of CrossFit, like kipping is about getting through the movement efficiently because you're trying to fight the clock.
It's a skill,
constantly,
right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a skill.
Yeah, it's absolutely a skill. There's a lot of hate out there on kipping pull-ups, and that's fine. But I will say by no means a kipping pull-up is not even close to a strict pull-up in terms of anything. Like, it's about efficiency of movement and speed. It is not at all about strength. I do weighted pull-ups. I can do a weighted pull-up. Most I've done is like 100-something pounds attached to me, strict pull-up. But I can also bang out like 65 to 70 kipping pull-ups. I don't know how many strict pull-ups I can do, but I imagine a fair amount.
Yeah, I mean, I think the takeaway is, at the end of the day, like, strength will set you free.
Absolutely.
If you get stronger at doing weighted pull-ups, take a week and learn how to kip if you're a CrossFitter, and you're going to be much like, I don't CrossFit.
Yeah.
I can do weighted pull-ups all day. I can fly on the bar just because we're strong.
Because you're strong. Absolutely. Get strong first.
Ooh.
Wow. Get strong first. Strength trumps everything. Well,
and then just get stronger after that.
Yeah, and then at that point, once you're strong, it just becomes a matter of how much suck can you take.
And then you just gotta get strong.
That's really what it
That's the way
is.
you put that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, because it sucks. Like, doing anything that is endurance related or high volume, it is uncomfortable. So like,
find some training partners, man.
Yeah, just go to that place.
Like, let's go into weightlifting. Like, I'm actually watching someone right now, trying to develop maybe your shoulders.
Oh,
not you. Someone developing their shoulders to increase their pulling strength because it's a big part. So maybe going into a hypertrophy phase of building up onto those deltoids in the movement patterns that are needed will actually set you free in certain ways because yes, you need strength to get weightlifting done. You have to, create power. You have to have technique. But if you don't have strength, you're not going to lift and make a new PR. You're never going to do it.
Yeah.
You know, so you're going to hit that window, and if you don't actually increase your strength or increase your muscle mass, it's never going to really happen. No, you don't have to be huge, but you do have to have it there. You have to have something.
We talked about this a little bit in episode 2.
Yeah.
What was the realization that you had recently about your strength?
Oh, so yeah, so with weightlifting, my realization was, you know, I looked at my charts and I'm like, my technique's on, but I keep on hitting this wall where I can't. And for instance, I'll use the clean and jerk for the prime example, right? My upper body's always been strong, my lower body's been lacking. I could not stand up a heavy clean after like 280 was kind of like that shit point. And it just came down to like, no matter how many strength cycles I did of low reps, it's just, I would always just burn out. I wouldn't get really results. My knees would start to hurt. And then it was kind of like, the realization was, I just needed to kind of go back to the basics and just start doing more front squats, doing different variations of lunges, different variations of squats, but do it in like a hypertrophic manner where it's not about maxing out every day. Maybe it's a matter of me going under the bar and getting my quads to just be the things that give out, not my knees that hurt, not my lower back. So maybe it's dropping the weight, cutting my rest periods, and just burning these suckers until they learn to grow. Over and over, just I have to take more suckers under a foot.
I politely ask you to grow.
Yeah, you know. And the great thing is, it's like we kind of forget about that middle phase because we want to lift heavy and throw around a lot of power, or we want to play on the other end and we want to just do endless reps of body weight or light weight and sweat. We forget about the kind of middle ground, which is like It's also, I think it's one of the harder rounds because you have to lift moderately heavy or heavy weights, but you also still have to go heavy.
Yeah.
Right? And that's also the round that's going to make you the most sore, right? Body weight won't really make you sore. Lifting heavy really won't make you that sore. I mean, it's high intensity, but the volume is what gets you.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where it is. And I think that was the biggest realization. Was like, I just need to freaking squat more often, not as heavy.
You keep cutting out your swear words.
Yeah.
Let it fly, man.
He's so nice.
Let it fly. Does your mom watch this show?
I don't think so. Hi, Mom.
Don't.
Hi.
Mom, if you watch the show, comment below.
Sorry. I cut.
Okay.
My parents don't curse. I curse.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I have a body, but I'm Irish, so I don't know.
God bless your heart.
I know.
So let's go into, okay, we have the lifts that you have to do throughout the course of the week. We have your squatting, your deadlifting, your pressing. How about some other, form of movements that are needed, like let's
Accessory
say
work?
single leg work. Let's
Yeah.
go into that.
Okay. Well,
what would you add in?
I mean, I'll use, this past year I've done powerlifting and weightlifting. And I also just wanted to get stronger. Remember, after the summer program, I was like, holy crap, like, I need to get stronger. I need
So
to
let's
get bigger.
pick one spot that you saw that was lacking that you need to bring up to make the lifts better.
Well, I'm a pretty firm believer if your squat gets stronger and healthier, then everything else will get better. So mine was my quads. My deadlift was amazingly stronger than my back squat and front squat. So I said, and I was like, well, I'll squat more, back squat. Well, that's pretty close to my already deadlift, and I was like, I mean, you guys would tell me, like, I was like shifting my weight forward to be able to almost do like a stiff leg RDL with 400 pounds on my back, and my back started flaring up, and it just wasn't a good deal. So I was doing tempo front squats or box squats, right? As much as that, people would like squat ass deep, like I knew that right at parallel, the quad is typically the most active, and that was my sticking point. So you can videotape yourself and you can figure out like where your sticking point is and play there. So that was the biggest fix that I made, and my deadlift went up, my Olympic lifts went up, my knee pain got better because my quads redeveloped.
Yep.
So I'd say box squats and lunging and slower squatting on the way down, not just hitting that hole and bouncing out.
Yeah.
That was for me.
I'd say definitely for myself, getting stronger in my not just in my quads but really my glutes was adding in step-ups, adding in weighted step-ups to make myself have to drive through. So almost having my knee like angle where the bottom of my squat was, so I can work on getting out from the bottom and finishing through with my glutes. So that
These guys have opposite problem. So this guy's got monster quads. This guy's got monster hamstrings. With their powers combined, it would be the ultimate
Well,
squat.
and I think the thing that you had, and we noticed, is like you started having hip pain,
Yeah.
right? Like I had knee pain, and I was like, well, okay, my quad. He had hip pain, but it was like a different tracking. So he went unilateral, which means go on one leg, and you started to we realized, okay, was it your left side or your right side?
Right side.
Your right side was hurting, and it's like the right side he was shifting weight. And if you watch anybody squat, you might find like a butt wink or a sway. So just by doing that,
a shift towards my left side. You can see if you watch from the front, I would actually shift my weight slightly on the way up, which of course you don't want to do as your add-on weight. It's not the best thing for you. So yeah, I had to go back to dropping down weight, getting a little bit more repetitions on single leg, just trying to drive through my right side, drive through my left side, see how they're working, see now when I go back to my back squat or my front squat, watch how I'm actually able to drive through, push my knees out, and they're both moving at the same time, driving my whole body up.
And he didn't do endless body weight reps. Like if body weight is your strength level, and you can only do 8 to 10 or whatever, that kind of like happy range for hypertrophy, then that might be it. But like sitting there and doing 1,000 step-ups, more is not better in this case.
Yeah.
And he was already strong, so he kind of was like, I'm gonna burn the shit out of my glute and just not be able to sit down. And
yeah, sometimes trying to get some of the muscles to fire up is just putting them in a line of fire. So actually just like giving them the opportunity to actually have to fire.
I command you to grow. Yeah. Sometimes you also just have to do silly isolation exercises. We make fun of global gyms a lot for like leg extensions and all that shit, but I mean, it's gonna build your quads. I mean, think about the top of a squat. What is it? Your leg completely straightening out. One way that you can do that, let's say that you don't belong to a global gym that has that, you can use bands. I'm gonna go grab some. You guys talk about something.
Well, yeah, if you think about, like, let's say if you're in the middle of a training season or you're getting ready for competition,
how to deload the joints.
The isolation, you're not going to be doing as much. But if you're in the strength phase, you have an opportunity to really develop these muscles. Like, I have to maybe develop a little bit more on my quads. I want to isolate them a bit more so I can really work on them and get them fired. No, I don't want to be sore the day before a competition, so I'm not going to isolate my quads like that. Just pull them out.
And when you do this type of training, you have to account you will get sore more than usual.
Back to dogs.
But a lot of these variations that we're talking about, they don't replace heavy squatting. They don't replace your heavy deadlift or your heavy bench pressing or your power moves. They're accessory assistance exercises that maybe come after your Olympic weightlifting or your heavy strength sets. And it's really just doing a couple sets, hitting that voluntary, failure, and then maybe getting a couple more to really make sure that you're deloading the joints because you just did heavy stuff earlier. And you're really just isolating, like Andre's going to show you, certain aspects.
I've got a nice resistance band here. You can pick any width or girth that you like. That's what she said. All right, so we're gonna make the red one was too small. Sorry,
Mom, don't watch this.
We're gonna take this.
Is it because he's Puerto Rican?
Yes. And we're going to take it and just wrap it around the bench.
fight.
So I'm taking a resistance band for those listening on the iTunes.
For those of you who can't see, he wrapped the band all the way from one side around to the other.
Of a bench, of a stationary bench.
So
what I'm going to do
He's sitting perpendicular to the band.
Yes. I'm going to slip my feet through one side of the band, like so. And I have my own leg extension machine right here. And I'm here, and then up, and down, and up, and down. I could, once again, go unilateral and just bang out one side, just like that, really just isolating that quad.
And what he's doing is isolating. What he's not doing, and you can't see this if you're listening, is he's not just throwing his toes around like a freaking animal. He's actually thinking about contracting his quad, flexing it as hard as he can. On the way down, the band or the weight isn't snapping back.
Controlled movement.
And you're essentially trying to build up fatigue and that crap feeling.
Yeah, building a little bit of lactate threshold here in the quads. My core is also engaging as well because I could be sitting there and just like this and trying to crank it out, but I'm trying to remain nice and tall in my torso, squeezing my abs, shoulders back, chest up, just like I would in any exercise, whether it's a squat or deadlift.
That means that even though he's going to isolate one muscle and work on it, you never truly isolate something because everything else is still working. So you can lose that thought.
Like I love using band training as like a finisher, right? So if you're doing squats, do this and say, I'm going to do 100 reps on one leg as fast under control as I can to really build it up. And what you're doing is, since it's a low load and you're not loading the joints, you're actually kind of decompressing them, but you're delivering blood flow and supply of nutrients to the muscle, the tendons, and the ligaments. So a lot of powerlifters who lift the most of almost any of all athletes, they do a lot of this. They'll do a lot of body weight at the end, and they'll really just focus on pumping blood into the muscles to kind of start that recovery process / prehab process.
Let's talk about another one. So we hit our lower body pretty aggressively.
We got it going.
Please be a bicep curl with a band.
I could have done that. Want me to do that?
No, yeah,
I was going to talk about pull-ups. So Mike mentioned earlier about, let's say that you don't have pull-ups and there's something holding you back. It might be your lats. So what you can do, once again, take this handy dandy band, tie it up somewhere, and you can mimic a pull-up. I'm going to take my shirt off.
So you
For
can
the
see
ladies at home.
the striations better.
Yeah. All right. So.
And so half of us can feel horrible about ourselves.
So drop down, and then I'm really going to think about engaging my lats. So I'm going to squeeze my shoulder blades back as if I had a pencil in between my shoulder blades.
And if you're watching at home, essentially he's taking the band from a high anchor point, and he's dropping his shoulder blades down the back, pretending that somebody's trying to put a finger in his armpit, so he's really tight through his lat, and he's doing what would you call this, like a high row, like a row from high to low.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's squeezing his shoulder blades aggressively, getting a nice anchor here. His shoulders are anchored underneath his neck, so he's not raising, he's keeping space between the shoulders and the ears, and he's just focusing on that contraction.
So
And you
he's
can see
able
it's
to
like
really
it's like a
work on
goddamn
body
roadmap back there. That's Gain City. That's Progress.
Plaza.
Progress Plaza.
There we go. Another thing, while we have the band up high, let's say that you're working overhead movements, okay? And let's say that you can get it, let's say you can get a press from here to here, but that lockout, so sticky to get that lockout. Even if you're doing dips or muscle ups, it's hard for you to come all the way through there. Might be your triceps that are lacking a little bit. Once again, got this band, I'm just gonna do some tricep pull downs. I'm here, and I just crank it out.
So he's got the same anchor point if you're listening at home, and he's essentially doing like an overhead tricep extension where the band is pulling his hands back behind his head, he's facing away from the band, and he's stretching the band out, getting a nice soft elbow lockout, just building fatigue in that tricep.
And he's able to work his hip hinge. He's able to push his hips back, have to work his core to keep him stable, because if not, that band's still going to take him. So he's able to work the whole body at the same time.
Now, and you could go one step further with this, and if you understand the hypertrophy bodybuilding mentality and you understand the anatomy of the muscles, you know that there's multiple heads in the tricep, right?
Yeah.
So we typically always do this overhead lockout with any pressing motion. Now, he could do the same anchor point, he could do a press down, and he could hit the lateral head versus the medial head.
What are you going to do?
Do that guy.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah,
Just show
just
off.
flex your pecs one at a time.
One peg at a time?
Yeah, one pec at a time. So if you're watching at home, you can see what he's doing. If you're listening, he's doing the single arm tricep press down while unilaterally flexing one pectoral muscle. So he's going to get a great separation of his. I don't know. I'm just making this up.
Well, this is also taking away the likelihood of getting injured from all these movement patterns, because now he's actually helping with joints.
Yeah, but you can see his tricep going, right? And he's amazingly lean, but if you're not that lean, you can still have the same effect where the muscle's getting that blood flow. If he did there, and he just started doing them, he'd build up that fatigue of the muscle. Your arm would probably just get swollen. Like, I'm pale as an angel, and when I do it, my arms literally become flush red, right? Because it's just so much nutrients in there. So, yeah, that's another way.
Yay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was cool, man.
Yeah.
We should sell these bands.
I think someone already does.
Well, this goes to piggyback.
We should.
This goes to piggyback off of our last podcast over, let's say you're on vacation and you can't work out. Look, there's so many simple ways to work out and still get the work that you need just by using your head. Like, one, you can go and ask for help, but also two, you can go look, like we started out looking for the stuff ourselves just to get better. You can always find a way to get your work in.
You can buy these bands at Walmart.
Well, I think the biggest thing with the band is it's
Buy
keeping
them on Amazon.
It's keeping constant,
They'll deliver it to you.
constant
Get
tension,
Prime.
which
They'll have it at your doorstep by end of day.
making the mind-muscle connection, right? He was sitting there making it. You can do the same thing with body weight.
Yeah.
You could do a slow squat, and you could just envision like mind-muscle connection. Arnold Schwarzenegger was huge on this, and he would just see the muscle like opening and seeing the blood flow gush in. You take a slow enough squat, like after this or right now, put us on pause, and put a 10-second clock on. And I want you to just descend slowly in that 10 seconds. I want you to feel every single muscle fiber just opening up, and then flex as hard as you can at the bottom. stand up smoothly and flex again.
Don't poop yourself.
Imagine Arnold is talking to you. I'll count for you for those that are at home on the podcast.
Let's try it here.
All right, now we're
You're
going
gonna do the squat.
You're going to do the squat. Come on, get serious. Okay, ready? Breathe with me. Keep your chest tall. Ready? We're going to descend. 1, 2, slower. 3, 4, 5, 6. Get to the chopper. 7, 8, 9. I'm from the future. I'm a copy idiot. Slowing the way up. 10, 9, 8, 7. Do you feel the burn? Ta! What are we on? 6, 5, 4, 3. Ta! Ta! Boom.
Yes!
That's how squats got that big.
You know, and then do like a set of those for like a minute to 90 seconds, and then rest for like 30 seconds, and then get after it.
And
Yes.
you'll hate your life. But you'll look bigger.
And you'll
And
split
you'll be
against them.
strong. Yes.
And you might even get posted on she squats.
Yeah.
Which I have, thanks.
Your butt?
Yeah, we have
Really?
people that like our Jake's Fit account, and it's like booty blasters.
Yeah.
Or it's
That's
like
cool.
she squats, and I'm like, I guess that's great, but that's
Yeah.
me squatting. Oh my god.
Those accounts are funny.
Yeah.
Those just asses.
Bubble butt. Bubble,
Just
bubble,
asses.
bubble butt.
I mean, they're nice to look at, but it's distracting. It's very distracting.
Well, it is when somebody says it about you, and you're a guy, and you're not even trying that. You know.
Yeah. I went through my Instagram recently, and I just like deleted a lot of people. Not people like, you know, just like booty accounts. It's
So
distracting.
if you realize that you're watching this and he used to follow you and you have one less follower,
Sorry.
it's his fault.
Sorry.
So-
You mean your booty?
You know
was
something?
too
I'm
much,
proud of you because you're so good at what you do. He had to stop.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta work out. I can't be staring at asses all day. I'm sitting there on the toilet like,
And
man.
I think I lost a follower. All right, so
Where were we? All right.
yeah, so I think we pretty much went over hypertrophy training and how you can mix it into any program as assistance exercises.
Yeah.
Pretty much a recap. You can strike balance and try some different variations and kind of start to hit different aspects of the muscles.
I mean, start with the basic exercises. So squat, deadlift, overhead press,
Here's
bench
so
press,
cold in my head right now.
squats, deadlift,
Yeah.
bench press, bent over rows, and then add in all of the accessory exercises. So if you know you're hitting your legs for your squats, think about the accessory exercises that we came up with. Split squats, Bulgarian split squats, pistol squats, slow eccentric squats, single leg deadlifts,
That's
things like
the
that.
one, yeah.
On the bench press, on that side, we can think of,
Close grip neutral press.
boom, tricep extensions, tricep pull downs,
Dips.
dips, eccentric push-ups,
Yeah.
Eccentric
boom,
push-ups.
eccentric push-ups.
And I've gotten arguments for this before about bicep curls. I do feel that while they aren't a standalone training exercise for performance, I do feel that stronger biceps, a standard bicep curl, will help your grip and forearm strength.
Yes.
Deadlift
Yeah.
will help you close down the elbow joint and deflection, pull up,
Yep.
muscle up,
Yep.
and will help protect your bicep tendon when you're doing more powerful moves such as cleans or heavy deadlifts.
So for those talking about the word, or who live by the word functional training, bicep curl is
Oh,
functional.
Man. You remember I got in that
Oh
argument?
yeah, shut
Oh
up.
man. Don't drop people's names.
It's great. It's a great use because for the functionality of getting stronger bicep for bigger pulls, stronger pulls, you do need it.
Yeah.
And to mention, it's like if you got two athletes relatively the same capacity, one of them has jacked arms, the other one doesn't, and you're in a staring match, which one do you want to be?
Right. I think it's just working your muscles in different ways. As long as it doesn't become
I
the
hope
primary.
you said the one with the big
As long
muscles.
as it doesn't become the primary source of your lifting. Like if you're coming in today, like, all right, gotta hit my major lift, bicep curls. It's like
Yeah.
no. Your major lift should be your squatting, your bench pressing, your deadlifting, your pull-ups, and then your bicep curls are your accessory work.
Yeah.
I will say this: when I was
like
younger,
your sweet- that's
when I
like
was in
your
high school,
shirt.
I used to do bicep curls all the time, and that's one reason. That is one of the reasons why I have very good grip strength right now, and I'm able to do many pull-ups. Also because I did parkour for a while, so I can climb on things. But it definitely helped. I think every piece of fitness that you do through life will help you get to whatever your end goal is. But just be smart about how much time you're spending in the gym. Do you think it's smarter to spend 10 minutes on bicep curls or 10 minutes on pull-ups?
Yeah.
Which one's working more muscle groups?
Yeah, kind of think of it like if you look at your plate of food.
Yeah.
Would you say that the barbell basics of squatting, pressing, and deadlifting might be like meat.
That's your protein.
Yeah. Then you got the veggies, which you do need to have. Might be some of your like your most dominant assistance exercises, like your lunges or your stiff leg deadlifts.
Sure.
Your dips, your chin ups.
Yeah.
Then you kind of have like a side dish, and that might be, I don't know, like maybe I would say correctives, like if you have certain corrective exercises,
Sure.
or your flexibility, and then dessert. That's like, I love bicep curls, and
I love donuts.
Some days I have to tell myself, like, I like front squats too, but on those horrific front squat days, I'm like, damn it, I'm gonna finish my meal and then I'm gonna eat dessert, and I'm gonna go ham on a barbell curl.
Just a taste.
Just a taste.
Taste. Here's a fun one you can try at home. We did this together a couple of months ago.
We'll post it on our YouTube.
I won.
I won.
Yeah.
On bicep curls, half
definitely won.
half of your body weight on a barbell bicep curls, max reps.
Yeah, can't put the bar down.
Yeah, just go.
You can hang on to it if you need, but you can't put it down.
Yeah, I held on to it for a very, very long time.
What'd you get?
CrossFit.
I think 30 something.
30 something with like 100 and...
It was.
We were about 95
It was 100 pounds.
100
Yeah.
pounds, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was fun.
It was stupid.
Never forget.
And at the end of the day, it's like, have fun with what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you grew up doing bodybuilding and love it, now you don't do it, take a day and have a treat yourself day in the gym and just get after it. Do some lat press downs, do some, close grip pec flies.
Don't
whatever
forget
that
your roots. Know that there's a purpose for it, and don't forget that you need it. It's not the main focus at some time for CrossFit, for weightlifting, but at the same time, you still need it to develop and grow and be a better athlete.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the show notes here, I'll post, we actually have, we made an arm assault, and it's like a 2-day-a-week arm hypertrophy training program. We've actually had a lot of CrossFitters download it.
There we go. Awesome.
Just because it's fun shit to do at the end, or like you coming out a Saturday WOD and you're just hanging out and you got all your bros or your chicas here and just
Bros
get
and
after
chicas.
it.
Bros and chicas. Really quickly, we didn't talk about endurance runners, endurance athletes.
Oh yeah.
People that run a lot. That is.
Do you need it?
That is detrimental. Running on pavement is awful for your joints. And that's cool because
Unless
you're going to
you're
do
trained
it.
and
That
used
is
to it.
thoroughly impressive that you can do it. I'm not going to do it. I've done a half marathon, I've done Tough Mudder, I've done Spartan race. I love doing shorter duration, but still kind of long duration races. Your joints need strong muscles to support them. Doing this sort of cross training, doing these squats, the deadlifts, it is going to help your longevity as an endurance athlete.
Sure.
I have a lot of clients who came to me because they're like, all I know how to do is run. All I know how to do is run, and I injured myself when I ran a marathon. I don't know what to do.
Yep.
How do I not become a fat person? Weight training, weight training, weight training. Everyone needs it.
I mean, you look at like the spectrum of fitness or muscle fitness. You got like the one end of like strongman, heavy ass shit, high power output. And then you got like the marathon runner over here. Hypertrophy training is a great blend because it won't really affect your endurance. I'm not saying like sets of 5 and really heavy. Maybe you're doing sets of 8 to 10 to 12, where you're teaching the muscles to become more resilient under fatigue. Well, guess what? When you hit the next hill in your half marathon, you're gonna thank God that Andre and all of us said you made sure you did front squats. But also muscles absorb force. Like when you're running, as Andre said, it's high impact. So if you don't have the musculature to withstand that force, something else is gonna take it. So why do you think they call it runner's knee? Right? That's the tendons, ligaments, and bones in the knee that get all screwed up.
There we go.
So,
Cool.
So, yeah.
Before we go, we miss Julio. He'll be back from Turkey soon.
And Chris.
And Chris.
Love that guy.
Chris went to, speaking of traveling, he went to go to try to get his visa because he's going on a trip somewhere. So he's like standing in line.
You should just get a MasterCard.
Womp womp.
Wow.
We'll be here all week, folks.
In the corner.
Oh!
All right, and next year we're airing this. Actually, this week it's on right now. November 20th to 28th. We got the USA weightlifting team out there in the IWF. I think it's in Houston. In Houston.
I don't think so.
I think so.
Sure.
You can tune in, stream it, man. Support our athletes.
Yep.
Keep crushing it.
Fitness.
All right. Follow us on Instagram at FitnessLeague5.
Hashtag more fitness.
Comment below in this blog post or the YouTube video with your comments. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, please leave a review. It helps us out immensely. And until next time.
Stay strong.
Peace.
Yeah.